You're trapped in time. But what if everything you believe about it is wrong? The truth about time will change your perception forever. Time. Does it really exist? Or is it just an illusion created by our minds? Have you ever felt like days are flying by too fast? Or that, in certain moments, time seems to slow down? What if I told you that everything you believe about time might be completely wrong? The truth is, time perception is not fixed. It can be stretched, manipulated, or even ignored. While science shows us that time is not absolute, spiritual traditions claim that it's just a reflection of our consciousness. And what if these two perspectives are more connected than we think? In this video, you'll discover how time affects your life without you even realizing it, and, more importantly, how to use it to your advantage. Get ready for a mind-blowing perspective that will forever change how you experience time. But before we dive in, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on more content like this. And tell me in the comments, is time your ally or your enemy? Let's uncover this mystery together. Part 1. The concept of time in physics and spirituality. Time is one of the greatest illusions that shape our reality. In physics, it's measured, calculated, and exact. But in spirituality, time is fluid, subjective, and can be shaped by consciousness. Einstein once said that time is relative, meaning it's not absolute, but instead a perception that changes based on the observer. Similarly, ancient spiritual traditions teach that time doesn't pass. Instead, we move through it. If that's true, are we truly prisoners of the clock, or just of our beliefs about time? Interestingly, science and spirituality are beginning to align on this concept. Quantum experiments suggest that the past and future may be interconnected, as if time is a vast tapestry where everything already exists simultaneously. Meanwhile, spiritual masters speak of higher states of consciousness where time perception simply disappears. Have you ever been so immersed in a moment that it felt eternal? Or experienced a day that vanished in an instant? That might not be a coincidence. Many accounts of out-of-body experiences, deep meditation, and near-death experiences, NDEs, describe a state where time ceases to exist as we know it. Some say they have seen the past, present, and future all at once, as if time were merely a construct of the human mind. If that's true, then can time be shaped, stretched, or even bypassed depending on our level of awareness? If our perception of time is flexible, can we actually control it? Some spiritual practices suggest that we can. Techniques like breathwork, meditation, and deep focus allow us to alter our sense of time and even slow down or speed up our experience of life. Here's a simple example. When you're bored, time drags on endlessly. But when you're in a state of flow, time disappears. So what does this mean for how we live our lives? And if true freedom isn't about having more time, but about learning how to control it, then maybe the real question is not how we measure time, but how it measures us. Part 2. How time affects our decisions and perceptions. The way we perceive time directly impacts our choices, both the small ones like what to eat for breakfast, and the big ones like changing careers. Time creates deadlines, pressure, and, often, anxiety. Ever noticed how a tight deadline makes you act impulsively? Or how a decision made with patience feels more solid? The question is, are we really in control of our decisions? Or are we just reacting to the time we think we have? Our minds don't perceive time linearly. They process it emotionally. That's why happy moments feel like they fly by, while difficult situations drag on forever. Psychological time and chronological time are not the same. Two people can go through the exact same experience but perceive it completely differently. This explains why some people age quickly while others seem to stay youthful for decades. Can we actually manipulate this perception to our advantage? The concept of time horizon also shapes our ability to plan and exercise self-control. Those who dwell too much on the past struggle to move forward, while those obsessed with the future often experience anxiety. The key seems to be recognizing time as an ally rather than a tyrant. But how do we do that? Small habits can completely transform our relationship with time. Setting clear goals, living more intentionally, and realizing that every choice we make creates a ripple effect that shapes our future. Now, imagine this. If someone told you that you only had 1 year left to live, would your choices change? Would you spend more time with loved ones, work less, and live more? This simple mental exercise reveals how much time influences our decisions. Yet we often only realize its value when we think we're running out of it. But what if the key to changing our relationship with time wasn't about fighting against it, but about changing how we experience it? Part 3. The idea of living in the now and its importance. Most people are trapped in two places, the past and the future. They cling to memories they can't change or worry about scenarios that may never happen. But here's a truth that few people realize. The only time that truly exists is now. The past is a memory, the future is a projection, and in between, life is happening. But are we really present in it? Living in the now is not just a philosophical or spiritual concept. It's a key to mental clarity and balance. Have you noticed that the best experiences in life happen when you are fully immersed in the moment? Think about the times when you laughed so hard that you forgot about everything else, when you were so focused on an activity that time simply vanished. This state of full presence doesn't just enhance our quality of life, it also reduces anxiety and improves decision-making. After all, how can you make good choices for the future if you're not paying attention to the present? Many spiritual traditions emphasize the power of the now. Buddhism teaches that suffering comes from resisting the present moment, while Stoicism reminds us that we only have control over what's happening right now. Even science confirms this. Studies show that people who practice mindfulness, the art of focusing on the present moment, are happier, more productive, and emotionally balanced. But how can we put this into practice? One simple way to start is by focusing on your breath. It sounds basic, but it's powerful. Every time your mind drifts to the past or future, bring your attention back to your breathing. Another technique is to use your senses. Feel the texture of objects, listen to surrounding sounds, notice the smells in the air. These small habits anchor your awareness to the present, where life truly happens. But if being present is so powerful, why is it so difficult? And is there a way to train the mind to stay in the now for longer? That leads us to the next point. Part 4. Experiences that challenge the linearity of time. If time were truly a straight line, then why do so many people report experiences that contradict this idea? Déjà vu, premonitions, vivid dreams that later come true. Are these just coincidences, or signs that time doesn't work the way we think it does? Science has explored some of these anomalies. Quantum physics experiments suggest that time may be reversible at a subatomic level. Additionally, astronauts who spend long periods in space experience a phenomenon called time dilation, where time literally moves slower for them compared to people on Earth. This means that, in a way, someone who traveled through space and returned to Earth could have aged less than those who stayed. If this is possible on a physical level, could our minds also access different moments in time? Many spiritual traditions speak of individuals who can access the past and future through altered states of consciousness. There are stories of Tibetan monks who can see events before they happen, and of ordinary people who have predicted important events through dreams. If time were truly fixed and linear, this shouldn't be possible, right? So what's really happening here? And this isn't just about mysticism. Research on the subconscious mind shows that our brains can process information before we become aware of it. This might explain why we sometimes feel like we've lived a moment before, déjà vu, or why intuitive decisions often turn out to be right. Perhaps time is not a continuous stream, but an ocean in which our consciousness can dive in and access different moments. But if this is true, is there a way to train this ability? Can we learn to experience time in a more fluid way and use it to our advantage? That's what we'll explore next. Part 5. Techniques to slow down your perception of time. Have you ever felt like time is slipping away too fast? The days blur together, months vanish, and suddenly another year is gone. But what if I told you there's a way to slow down time and make every moment feel longer? Our brains process time based on our experiences. The more novelty we introduce into our lives, the slower time feels. That's why childhood felt endless. Everything was new. But as adults, routine takes over, and time speeds up. The solution: break the routine. Learn something new, visit unfamiliar places, or change small daily habits. The more new experiences you have, the more memories your brain creates, making time feel longer. Another powerful technique is mindfulness, the practice of being fully present. Ever noticed how moments of full awareness feel richer and more vivid? If you eat in a rush, you barely taste your food. But if you slow down, paying attention to every bite, the experience transforms. The same goes for conversations, walks, even breathing. Time slows down when we truly pay attention. And then there's flow state, those moments when we're so deeply focused on something that time ceases to exist. Athletes, musicians, and scientists describe this as a portal to a timeless experience. Want to tap into this? Choose an activity that challenges and engages you. It could be playing an instrument, writing, or practicing a sport. Anything that demands your full presence. But here's the real question: if we can stretch time through perception, can we also learn to control it? Maybe time isn't something that rules us, but something we can shape. If everything we've explored is true, then your perception of time will never be the same again. Time isn't just a straight line. It's something that can be shaped by your awareness, choices, and the way you experience each moment. Now, the real question is, what will you do with this knowledge? If you feel like time is slipping through your fingers, maybe it's time to change how you experience the present. Small changes can transform your relationship with time, paying more attention, stepping out of routine, and actively engaging in life. The key to controlling time has always been in your hands. You just needed to see it. Now tell me, do you believe you can change your perception of time? Or do you still feel trapped by it? Drop a comment below. Let's discuss. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss more content like this. And before you go, check out this next video. It will expand your perspective even further. See you there.